And we are back, Dr. Vincent Price, with the Writing and Speaking Studio at the North Carolina Central University. So, this video focuses on spacing, how to fix the spacing for APA format. So, I'm using just a standard text here, sample text. Pay no mind to what it's saying. In this video, we're also going to be using the keyboard shortcuts, some of the keyboard shortcuts that the previous video uh, explored. So if you missed that previous video, go back now. So let's look at it. Spacing is very important. Consistency is very important as well. And so this looks like double spaced, right? It is double spaced, but here's something that both Google Docs does and also Microsoft. Now, Docs does automatically, and Microsoft Word, it just depends on your version. You see this gap between the two paragraphs? You see how this is slightly more than the gap between the lines? That's because Google Docs adds extra space between those, and that's not what we want. So we want to have all of this text without that extra space added. So we need to select it all. How do we select everything? Control A if you are a PC person, or Command A if you are Mac. Then we go up to line and paragraph spacing. It says double, great. And then we need to make sure that we remove the space after the paragraphs. Watch that space, and it moved up. And now everything is evenly distributed, right? So, oh, but this is just an extra enter. So with APA format, you don't put any extra spaces between paragraphs. So you remove the automatic space that it adds, that Google Docs adds, and then you also don't have an extra blank line in the middle. Okay, so the indentation for your paragraph will let your reader see where one paragraph or a new paragraph is about to start. So let's see what else. Oh, okay. So one space between words. Sometimes when you're typing, you get carried away and you might have multiple spaces, maybe two spaces between your words. It's strange, right? But look at this. Let's see. Let's see if we can zoom in so you can see that. I can spot it a mile away. See? There's some extra space in between the and work. And so I could just go to that one and then delete it. But more than likely, there are other instances of this. And I could also read everything and try to use my eyes to find those little gaps, because there's one there, but that will take a long time. So what do I need to do? I need to find them and I need to replace them. Oh, find and replace. That's going to be Control H or Command H for Mac people. Okay, so I need to find spaces. So how do I find where there are two spaces? Well, I just hit the space bar twice. Boom, boom. Ooh, there are 26 instances of that. And what do I need to replace it with? A single space. Boom. Replace all, and it's done. Ooh, saves me some time and effort. Okay, so let's try that again. Sometimes, oh, actually, we shouldn't have to try that again because, all right, so before I get ahead of myself, sometimes people put two spaces after periods or your end punctuation when it should just be one. So you should just do the find and replace. You can do the double space and then replace it with a single space, and that should cover it. Fantastic. And last but not least, you look at this. Let me zoom out. You don't want a chunky paragraph. Nobody wants to read a chunky paragraph. So look at this. This thing is almost 2 pages of one paragraph. So take time to break it up logically. Figure out where it can separate, and then boom, push enter, and make your readers want to actually read what's going on. Otherwise, it is discouraging. All right. So that's how you adjust your spacing, make things look a little bit more pleasant to the eye. Stay tuned for the next video when we go a little bit deeper into APA structure.